What's up? It's me, Haley Jones, and I'm here with Lindsay Runne, and behind us is the future home of Climbing Roots, which is going to be, it is a 24-hour, or will be a 24-hour rock climb. Not rock climbing? Do you call it rock climbing?
You call it rock climbing.
Like,
So
what's the difference?
Yeah, technically, climbing is referring to ropes.
Oh.
You know, and like climbing routes.
Okay.
Not ROTS, but like routes, is referring to climbing on ropes.
Okay.
So it's like our name is somewhat
That's
confusing
cool.
to those who really know climbing and the term.
Right. Okay, so as we always do, we're gonna do some quick rapid fire. Lindsay's from Maryville, so we're gonna pin this against her. South Knox or Maryville?
South Knox.
Oh,
totally.
That was quick.
Yeah.
Just because, why? Tell us why.
Well, I mean, this place is awesome. It's the coolest. Like, all the stuff that's going on with the urban wilderness, really it's the mountain biking. We're mountain bikers, and so it's like, our families live in Maryville, and when we were moving back, we were just like, obviously South Knoxville. My husband works in Maryville, but we were just like, South Knoxville is the cool place to be.
I think I know the answer to this, but mountain biking or road biking?
Mountain biking.
Like hardcore.
Yeah.
What are your favorite like places to eat in South Knox?
Ooh, there's so many cool little spots. So actually we live in a neighborhood where we can walk to Thai Time. It's off of Chapman.
Yes.
And my kids love the boba there. It's like, for some reason, their favorite.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of fun because it's so close.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah,
and, yeah. And just like a nice little spot.
Yeah.
And then I love Sevier Avenue spots.
All the things.
Yeah, all the things.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, so let's take a hard right turn and talk about Climbing Roots. Okay, so bouldering gym, there is no on belaying, as we have already talked about. So what's kind of the vision? Because you guys are like a bouldering gym, but I also think you're gonna have like event space, fitness, yoga. Like, tell us all the things. Like, what do we need to know?
So, I mean, it's just gonna be an awesome place that you want to just come and be at. That's the idea. It's like, whether you're just hanging out, so we want to have a lot of hangout spots. So like when you walk in the lobby, we want it to just be like, oh, this is like a coffee shop that I would have to do, like third space, work in. Yes. Also, like if you want to do yoga, there's a space where it's just like this nice yoga studio feel, not like a gym yoga. You know, I'm a yoga instructor, so that's really important to me. It's just like you walk into the yoga room and I want it to just feel like a whole other space where you can relax and do yoga. Want there to be enough fitness equipment to where, again, like if that's your main thing, you can get it there, or get it here. But of course, the main thing is bouldering. I just love climbing, and I came to climbing 10 plus years ago, and it has just, I'm not one of those like hardcore climbers where you go out and project and like go out every single weekend, because I have so many other fun activities that I want to do. But it's always been just something so close to my heart and dear to my heart, mostly because of the community around it. Like, just that, I mean, not everybody has this, but for me, it's like, whatever level you are at in climbing, you can hop on the ropes or hop on a problem, and everybody's sitting around and cheering you on. And it's just like this build up and this encourage,ment. And
so how did you like get into this? Like, what are we doing here? No, I'm just kidding.
So into like building the gym, or just into climbing?
Well, both. I mean, because I know that, so there is a podcast out there, so I don't want to like make you repeat yourself, where you're kind of talking about like kind of how you got into it, the evolution of this. But yeah, share with us kind of how you got into climbing, and then like, how did we get here? To this space.
So I went to school in Chattanooga, which there's so much climbing in Chattanooga. I went to college in Chattanooga. And
which, wouldn't you say, I have a lot of people that are like, what's the difference between Knoxville and Chattanooga? I feel like Chattanooga is more outdoorsy, or like more,
I think it's a different sort of outdoorsy.
It reminds me more of Asheville.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The culture is different here. I feel like here there's a lot. Well, in Knoxville, there's so much more mountain biking, like in the city, which I think is really awesome. And I think they're building on that there too. There's a lot more climbing closer by there. But yeah, it is kind of like this different feel as far as like the people. I feel like we're close to like the Smoky Mountains where people, you know, go fly fishing.
Yeah,
Like, I might be misspeaking, but I kind of feel like we're more just like backcountry folk, you know? And
yeah,
like,
that makes sense. Yeah.
Like
Okay,
fishing and like
right, all the different stuff. Where it's okay. Anyway, so you went to Chattanooga for college,
UTC,
yeah.
And now looking back on it, like I just like again was like kind of exposed to climbing there, and now looking back on it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I missed out on so much being there, and I wasn't like in climbing yet.
Okay.
But anyway, that's all hindsight. And then moved to Argentina, where I was interested in climbing enough to where like Nate and I would like find little places that we could just like practice climbing or like keep up our strength, and it's funny, we would like try stuff on just like brick walls, you know? There wasn't any, like in the town that we lived there wasn't any climbing at all. It was just flat. So we just did what we could.
Right.
And then moving back, we lived in California for a little bit, and I worked at a climbing gym there and taught yoga there. Yeah. And that's where I just like really got into it, and we would spend weekends, like I would spend the week at the climbing gym and then weekends outside climbing. Just so many different awesome places, Joshua Tree. And then, you know, since then it was just like, it stuck. And so since then, I went to a really cool climbing gym out there, Vital in Carlsbad, and it was just like, wow, this is cool. It was 24-hour access and just had that feel of like, just your gym.
Yeah, that's
cool. I went in there, I felt like this is mine, you know.
Right.
And when we had our first child, he was old enough but young enough to where he loved those like bouncy things. That like an A-frame that you could take and set up wherever. So Nate was at work a lot, and I was at home with him, and so I would just take him out to the Little River Canyon and set up the A-frame, and he would just be bouncing on it while I was just like bouldering around, and I would like not go too high or anything. I'm a spotter, but just like any chance I got, I would just
do it.
Go and climb around. The owners of the building, we had talked through mountain biking. We kind of connected, and he was like, "Yeah, you want to be the manager? You want to manage a climbing gym?" I was like, "Yeah, like yes, that's a dream, job for me." And then a little time passed. I didn't hear anything. I was just like checking in. I was like, "Hey, so what about this gym?" And he was like, "Oh, do you want to own a climbing gym?" And I was just like, I had to like pin him down and be like, "Okay, how serious are you?" Because when you say that,
like
that
is this for real?
Is this for real? Yeah. Because if it's not, don't play with me.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so it just started from there. About a year and a half ago, these just like conversations, and then I just jumped on it and became real serious. And since then, I feel like literally every day I have done something towards the climbing gym. So like, whether it be just like a conversation, or on my computer writing out plans and researching, you know, like to make a business plan and stuff like that. Just all the things. And it's been super exciting.
Yeah, that is so exciting. So what's like goal open date? Like when? You don't have to answer that if you don't want to.
No, I'm hesitant to like really be specific because when I first started a year and a half ago, this was my goal open date, like Fall Fest, around Fall Fest, you know. And of course that's not happening. See, it's okay. It's okay. And I've learned a lot through this experience of just like being patient, taking time, and doing things right, and you know, not rushing anything. So I would love for it to be mid 2025.
Okay.
And I think we're on the track now where I can be a little bit more certain of that. Have more of a hard deadline. But still trying to be vague.
Yeah, no, I get that. Okay, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Okay, listen. I've got strong legs and weak upper body. Okay, so I want to know. Like, I'm a runner. I'm dabbling in. I just did an Ironman, so like
a full Ironman?
Yeah, I can ride a bike. I'm not great at it, but I just want to talk to you about, you know, from like it seems to me like climbing would be I think there's something inherent about like the challenge of it, where it's like it's a almost meditative, if that makes sense.
Oh, totally.
Like, so, and I'm like all about that when it comes to like movement and just the meditation part of it, where you're just so focused on that thing that you're
get into the zone, in the flow of it.
Yeah. So I think just from that perspective, like mentally, it could be really good. But I'm just curious, like your thoughts for, you know, someone's it's like, I don't even know how to climb. Like, what would I even do? But I also feel like it'd be really good for mobility.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Honestly, I love like climbing and yoga is kind of interesting for me, how similar it is. Like I feel like they're very holistic.
Yeah.
So like with climbing, you really have to get into this headspace of like, you know, focusing on what you're doing and shutting down those like fear, you know, like, especially with ropes or like sport climbing where you're, you know, I don't know how much you know about climbing, but
very little, as indicated. I mean, I've climbed a little bit, but to me, it's so daunting because when I think of it, I think upper body, and I'm just like if you try to see me do a pull up, it's like,
see, that's a misconception.
So
yeah, that's a misconception.
So I think I actually opt out. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I self opt out because of that.
Yes,
you know?
That definitely is a misconception. Yeah, like that you have to have this like super upper body strength, like you know, big dude bodybuilder, you know. You definitely do have to have some, like the first time you climb, your forearms are just gonna be so tired. Yeah. But there's so much technique, which I love this about climbing. There's so much technique to it that you're using your whole entire body. You're using your core, you're using your legs and your feet a lot, which people forget, and that's kind of, you have to like remind them, use your feet, you know? And
because you're gripping with your feet and then also like pushing
you're
off,
really pushing down with your toes, and that's where like the climbing shoes come in, because they can really just like pinpoint a very specific spot, and you can put that pressure.
That's cool.
They're kind of like ballet shoes almost, to where you know,
like
you
a
can
low
like
point shoe almost.
So there's a lot of the entire body that you're using. But of course, yes, there is upper strength in there. Right. But it's not like, oh, I can't do a pull-up, so I'm not gonna be able to climb.
Well, because you see like these I guess it's bouldering, whatever it was on the Olympics.
Oh yeah.
And this one guy's like swinging with his finger, not really his finger, but he's like his whole body, and then he's like, boom, next rock, next rock. I'm like, what the?
Well, yeah, that's a whole other level, but like, you definitely should come and try and get on the boulder problems, and like, it's just fun.
Because will it be like, when you say boulder problems, will it be like easy to difficult?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, how does it, what will it be like?
Yeah, we want to have all the levels in there and a good variety of that, so that all levels can come and climb, and the real hardcore you know, climbers who want to train will get that as well. Okay. You know, like the main bouldering area will have that big range, you know, lots of beginner level problems all the way up, which is typical in a climbing gym. And then also a lot of climbing gyms have those areas for like training, and that's what we're going to have as well, like a room with system boards or training boards, and you can really kind of hone in on like what you're looking for as a climber,
because this is a big space. Like, it's huge. Space. Like, how big is it?
It's 23,000 square feet.
Yeah, it's huge. It's like ginormo. I'm like, oh my god, this is awesome. So you'll have like memberships. Like, how will it work? Like, what will it be? How will it work? Like, if I want to come here, which I will. Y'all don't be coming after me and making fun of me though, because I'm gonna be over here at the kiddie section or whatever.
No, like, well, to start, but you'll work your way out for sure. So we'll definitely just have the typical day pass. You can drop in and pay for a day. So our plan is to have just like a typical membership for those open hours, and then have a separate, a little bit higher priced for 24-hour access, and those members will get a key card and be able to check in, or you know, come in whenever they want to. That's the plan. Don't hold me to that, because it also depends a lot on insurance, and and what they will allow.
Yeah, I do love the idea though of it being like a third space, like what you were saying is like come here and work a little bit, but then also like get active.
Yeah.
Like break your brain a little bit.
Right.
I love that idea because like what I do, I'm often by myself or like working from my computer for hours on end, and then I notice like I can't even think anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like in a bad mood.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, I gotta get outside. I gotta walk. I gotta whatever. So I love the idea that this is like, allows you to do that. Like go out and just climb something for a second.
Yeah. And also it's a
come back
space because like you do this, and if you don't even want to climb that day, you go ride your bike or go on a hike, you know? And it's like,
love that.
This is
so cool. So are your kids like climbers? Like how old are your kids? Like what will be here for kids? Like what does that look like?
Yeah, we definitely want to have kid climbing space, and that'll be in the basement because I know that that's a huge concern for climbers is like you don't want to have a bunch of kids running around when you're trying to like project something or, you know, climb hard, and you have to worry about kids running underneath you. And of course that can still be a problem if parents aren't you know,
what do
being
you mean?
vigilant.
I know what you're saying.
Parents watch your kids. But that hopefully like we can kind of separate that. We'll just send them down to the basement. Love you kids, go to the basement. And like have hopefully enough like entertainment for kids there to where they can stay down there. They're real short walls, so we were having a hard time trying to decide what to do down there anyway, and it's like, well, this is perfect.
Yeah,
like,
that's perfect.
Plenty of space for kids to run around and then also, you know, traverse or whatever.
Do whatever.
So my kids are 6, 8, and 10.
Okay.
And they've been to the crag a million times with us. The crag being like the climbing, you know, space where you go to climb.
Yeah.
And they're just hoodlums. Like they just run around. Like they're the loudest kids wherever we take them. They're just loud, and they just like wrestle and play in the mud. Like we've traveled with them a ton. I remember just like my little girl, she would just, when she was younger, she would just like play in the dirt, and then she'd pick it up and she'd like rub it on herself, you know. So they're just like
earth kids
from the dirt. And so they kind of do a little bit of everything too, but they're not like climbers like on a climbing team, go to the climbing club every week or you know, anything like that. And we're just kind of like letting them go in the direction that they want to go. And of course we have our wall at our house, and they'll climb around on it. But it's on and off.
That's cool. Yeah. How long this might be so dumb, but like how long do people climb for? Like, is it like cardio? Like I'm doing 30 minutes of climbing today?
Yeah.
Or like how does it?
Sometimes, I mean, I've been to a gym to where it's kind of like that, like, okay, I have an hour, you know, so like I'm just gonna like focus and do, you know, like a training session or whatever, get that in. But then a lot of times it's a super just like hangout sort of sport activity because especially with bouldering, you know, you'll climb something and then you'll just sit on the mats or sit somewhere with your friends talking about a problem or just you know, whatever, hanging out and for more time that you're climbing, you're like hanging out more than you're on the wall, which is cool. Like and then you're like working problems together, maybe you know, just trying a move and then the other person tries it. It's just like a kind of a fun hangout activity. So a lot of times people will be there for hours and
just doing what they can, doing their thing. That's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. So in terms of like what people should know now, like is there things that people can do now to support climbing routes as it's getting open? Like what do you need from us as a community when it comes to like, you know, climbing routes?
Yeah, so we have our website up and running, climbingroutes.com. And there are a few things I still want to put on there, like we are going to put on there where people can buy the pre-opening membership or passes. So what we're doing is just like you can buy a 10-punch pass. And it's discounted. Memberships, like climbing gym memberships, sound really expensive. And I was on that side as a member. I was just like, geez, this is so much.
Right.
But it's very standard in what you have to charge to stay alive.
You have to be open.
It's a huge cost.
No, totally.
To stay open.
Well, and I think, well, that cost is on par with, like I'm saying, but also you're also paying for like an experience in the same way as like you would go to a movie. Do you know what I'm saying? So like just as a side note to the pricing of it, I think like before someone's like, oh my God. No, like that's
and
actually
that's not
really
the price of the membership. That's just like the punch pass. But like a membership, don't pin me to it because we're still like
you're still figuring it out.
Evaluating and looking at other places and comparing. But it'd be like around a month. Okay. So we're thinking about just doing like 20 weekly actually. Which is different. But our idea is, a day pass is going to be like 23.
Right.
Around there. And it's like, well, if I just buy it's $20 weekly, it kind of is like, well, if I just go once
it pays for it.
If you're like not coming in, we can freeze your membership, and it's just like $2 a week instead. And you can freeze it.
Oh,
and
that's smart.
Not
have to reopen.
Reopen it. And it's, I don't know. We just want to make it easy for people and it be this thing to where they're not like breaking the bank.
Right. So, okay. So we'll be able to buy like a 10 pass punch card. And then also like, what do you need from us? I mean, obviously follows, shares, spread the word kind of thing.
Spread the word, definitely.
Okay.
I'm going to have a booth at the Fall Fest.
Okay.
And I'll have stuff to sell there, like t-shirts and mugs and stuff and hats, and we're gonna have fun little games that you can play, or like competitions, like if you can do whatever, a set amount of pull-ups, and you get something for free.
I won't lose that one, as we've already discussed.
You could try it still.
Oh my God, I know. Gosh. Well, will there be the bands,
Oh, yeah, maybe. We could do like an assisted pull-ups.
I would kill that one. Kill that one.
I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, just certain things like that, just to kind of make it fun and exciting, because that's how we want people to feel about our gym.
Yeah. I also want to say, like, you guys will be doing events. Like, if people want to do birthday parties or like whatever.
Yes.
So I just want to put a plug for that as like something in the future to think about, is like birthday parties, or like I think this could be a fun like client event kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, or like within a business, I think it could be so fun, just because I feel like when you get people active, it kind of levels the playing field, and like people. Yeah, they gotta everybody has to get into it,
Yeah, so. It's kind of like that team building.
Yeah,
a team building activity.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, totally. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you're like, oh my gosh, we gotta talk about this?
Not that I can think of. I don't know. Yeah, just follow us on Instagram. Go to the website. Just tell everybody about it, and I'll be updating more and more as things are moving along.
Right.
And yeah,
you can go now to the Instagram and see kind of the space a little bit, so just so you know, like it's gonna be cool to watch that progression. So
yes,
I'm so excited to get out here. I think it's awesome. This whole like Baker Creek Preserve in general, I think it's awesome, and I love and just seeing like new and different businesses come in, because I think that Knoxville can sometimes be very like chainy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I feel like South Knox has kind of carved itself as like its own.
Yeah, like, kind of breaking away from that.
It's like it's a boutique / outdoor / mom and pop's restaurants in a good way, and like different active stuff to do. So I'm just so glad you guys are coming in. So exciting. Yes, of course. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.